Hey friends, welcome back to Potter Plus, your podcasting home for the upcoming Harry Potter television show and so much more. I'm your host, William, and happy Valentine's Day, friends. I hope your tea and crumpets at Madame Puttyfoot's later on today are everything that you hoped they would be. You have to bear with me today. I'm just a smidge under the weather because my daughter's first grade class have been sharing upper respiratory viruses like juicy secrets. But we're going to push through it today. I've got a great show. Coming up later, I'm talking to Randi Harvey. She is a home shopping network host, entrepreneur, author, and all-around amazing human. And she came on the show to talk her fan fiction about one Mr. Tom Riddle. Now, this was my first foray into reading fan fiction, and I know that there is a very vibrant fan fiction community around the Harry Potter franchise. But without spoiling anything, I knew I had to have her on to talk on Valentine's Day, and I'm really excited for you to hear that conversation. But first, as I've done with every episode, I have felt like William Wallace in Braveheart, just waiting to record the news segment at the beginning of this podcast, hoping, this being the year that they start production on the Harry Potter TV show, that news would start to come out. And I almost gave up until 2 days before the release of this episode. Variety reports that John Lithgow is in final talks to play Albus Dumbledore in HBO's upcoming adaptation of the Harry Potter books. Now, if you're like me, your brain probably went to one of two places upon hearing this news.
Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
You're a monster.
I'm not the monster here. You are. You and the rest of that fairy tale trash poisoning my perfect world. Now tell me, where are the others?
Eat me.
I've got to see. Oh, my God! I'm gorgeous!
I got you a birthday card.
Happy birthday. You look like $1 million. Oh. Old and wrinkled.
What kind of a cruel hoax is this?
It's a Hallmark card.
A hallmark of degradation?
The first line lulled me into a false sense of security. And the second line ripped out my heart and slapped me across the face with it, awakening me to harsh reality.
It's an old joke.
For an old fool? Well, I want no part of it. I'm leaving while I still have my dignity.
If you didn't already guess it, that was John Lithgow as Dick Solomon from Third Rock from the Sun, and his now infamous turn as Lord Farquaad from Shrek. If there was ever an actor that you would be afraid would be shoehorned into a certain stereotype of character, based on those two performances, I would have put money on John Lithgow. However, his most recent turns have not only broken free of that stereotype, but they have just solidified him as one of the acting greats. It wasn't until researching for this episode that I realized that John Lithgow in Interstellar is the millennial generation. Listen to this.
When I was a kid, it felt like they made something new every day. Some gadget or idea, like every day was Christmas. But 6 billion people, just try to imagine that. And every last one of them trying to have it all.
But it was his turn as Winston Churchill in The Crown that solidified for me that the role is in good hands.
It has been an unusually cold winter, and there are only so many things that I, as Prime Minister, am prepared to inflict on your subjects as a reward for winning a world war and prevailing over fascism, evil, and tyranny. Letting them freeze is not one of them.
Well, friends, it looks like casting for the Harry Potter television show is well underway. As always, I will bring you up-to-date news and announcements as they come out. But with that, we're going to cut to a break, and when we come back, you'll hear my conversation with Randi Harvey. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by the Big Red Button Podcast.
Do you know what you'd do in a nuclear apocalypse?
Because we sure as quack don't.
See how our choices get us into trouble and back out again in this actual play podcast.
Big Red Button is for lovers of the Fallout franchise, choose your own adventures, and tabletop role-playing games rolled into one big audio drama.
Our band of stragglers is unraveling a mystery in the wasteland, and we're at the mercy of the roll of the dice.
So grab your Geiger counters, take your rat away, and subscribe to our new show, The Big Red Button.
Randi Harvey, welcome to Potter Plus.
Hi, how are you?
I am incredible. I'm so glad that you agreed to come on the show.
Oh my gosh. I was so excited you invited me. I was like, what? I've never done a podcast. Let's do this.
Oh, you never had. Well, I feel incredibly honored that this is your first one, especially after I read your book. We'll get there. But okay. I want to give you the opportunity. Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Randi Harvey, but I have many monikers because I have a different pen name for every genre I write in. My maiden name is Randi Rail, which sounds like I have my own VHS series, but that was a real name I had. Yeah, you laugh. You know what it was like growing up with the name Randi Rail? Yeah. So that's the pen name I use for the Moon Riddle. But I'm from Michigan. I grew up there, but I've kind of lived all over. I've lived in LA. I was a Vegas showgirl for years. Wow. I'm an entertainer. So got into it because I couldn't get a job. I am in my 40s. And so the recession hit right out of college. But now I'm in Florida. I am an on-air host at HSN, which our studios are closing. We just found out yesterday. It's very sad.
No.
I know, 50 years. So I think I was a host at HSN, and I do a lot of commercials. I'm a musical. I do musicals. I own RH Publishing, which is my other career. So I work with writers, self-publishing authors.
Yeah. Well, incredible. Well, you touched on publishing a lot because I knew that I had to have you on the show after I read your fan fiction book, which we will talk about in a minute. But you wrote a fan fiction inside of the wizarding world. What is your Potter story? That could be your wand, your house, your Patronus, or how you were exposed to the series. Listen, there is no shame. I can see the Nimbus 2000 hanging behind you in this moment. How you got here is irrelevant. The fact is you're here and welcome.
I have never been into anything. Never. Not even as a kid. I wasn't into Disney princesses. I was far too macabre. I was a weird kid. Everyone.
Same.
Here's a great story. For Halloween, everyone, I just know how to put on makeup now. That's like the trick. I trick you. I'm a total weirdo. But when I was a kid, everyone's dressing up as Disney princesses. I went as a potato. Like that, if that doesn't tell you who I am.
Incredible.
So during the pandemic, I have two sons. One is a Gryffindor, one is a Slytherin, by the way. And I was looking for a chapter book to read to them that I wouldn't hate. And I said, everyone. So this is 2020 that I came across Harry Potter. I just want to point how sad that is.
Okay.
But started reading the books to them, and then I just stopped reading it to them and started reading it myself. And again, never been part of this fandom. Gonna lie, I used to kind of laugh at people who were into these things. Down the rabbit hole I went. And if you can see the video, some women buy Louis Vuittons. I buy $500 Gryffindor swords from New York. So
yes. So relatively new to the series, and I really love finding adults who found it as adults who are not viewing the series through they're not drunk on nostalgia for it. Because there's a lot of things that I enjoyed as a kid that I've revisited as an adult, and oh man, my daughter will love this. I love this. And I'm just rubbing my temple in shame. I thought this was good, but this is the one thing for me that has stood the test of time completely.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I was the 11-year-old reading Harry's 11th birthday with dark-haired, green-eyes, glasses.
So you got to be in your early 30s then, huh?
I'm knocking on 40's door. So
well, they're great, by the way. I love being in my 40s. It's amazing.
I had always said I turned 37 actually the day after this podcast releases. And for whatever reason, I have had this impression that 38 was going to be incredible. And when they announced that they were going to license the Cursed Child play to universities and high schools and eventually local theaters, listen, by the time it trickles down to local theaters, I will be 38. Harry was 38 in The Cursed Child. I'm not saying it's my destiny,
I mean, I might be.
But I'm also not saying it.
Right.
And I may have signed up.
I'm a community theater junkie. So I'm actually auditioning for Little Shop of Horrors here. So
And which part?
Yeah. Well, of course, Audrey. I want to be Audrey, but I'm getting up there in age. But I feel like Broadway's being kinder, and so is TV. It seems like women kind of disappear from about the age of 45 until they're like old little grannies, and like us elder millennials are not having that. Like, we are here, we are not going anywhere. Which, talking about characters and viewing the characters from a different lens as an adult, Narcissa is one of my favorite characters in the series because, and she's obviously bigoted, like there's no doubt, but her love for her child and how she is like lying to her husband who she loves. That woman will do anything. And she also, I think she sees Harry from a little bit more of a human lens than a lot of the other Death Eaters, but that character was so well written.
Everybody goes to Molly as like the perfect example of motherly love, but it was motherly love that changed the tide of the Battle of Hogwarts.
Well, and it was motherly love that saved Harry. It was motherly love that, like, it's, I mean, I don't want to be like, hey, where my mom's at, but I mean, that as a mom, because it's true, like, you'd throw yourself in front of a bus or a hippogriff or a evil wizard that wants to conquer the world to save your kid, like 100%.
Oh, well, and you discovered it in 2020. You went down the rabbit hole. Yep. What's your Hogwarts house?
But what do you think? But you could see my coat.
Oh, I can't. Well, it was obscure. I've learned to never assume. My daughter insists that she's a Ravenclaw, but I have 100% she's a Slytherin. In the best ways, because
I have taken the test a million times, and I get Gryffindor every single time. But I feel like I'm Ravenclaw adjacent. So.
Okay. And I like this like mix. I know Amy, her Instagram handle was Ravenpuff because she feels like she's an excellent between the two of them. Yeah. I took it the first time, again, read Harry's 11th birthday 3 days after I turned 11, dark hair, green eyes, the whole thing. I'm not being hunted by a homicidal maniac, but other than that, I was basically Harry Potter. I took it the first time, got Hufflepuff, was furious. Took it, registered a new account, got Hufflepuff, and tried to like skew my answers toward Gryffindor. Got Hufflepuff. And again, I registered a third one because I'm neurotic that way, and got Hufflepuff again. Finally dug into what it means, and it fits me perfectly.
Yeah, it's a personality test, 100%. And I think that's why there's variation. My husband, everyone thinks is a Hufflepuff, but he's not nice, just quietly judging everyone. He just isn't loud about it. He's not outward like Lucius Malfoy. He's quietly judging like a Narcissa. So.
I have told people I trust the Hogwarts sorting quiz more than the Enneagram or any other aptitude test.
100%.
That you can.
And also who people wish they were, not just who you really are, who they gravitate toward. I mean, I am such a true, tried and true Gryffindor. I mean, we are so much. We are too much. But in the event of an emergency, break glass, pull Gryffindor. Like, we're the ones who will go crazily into the melee to save the day without a second thought.
You pointed that out. My mom, she has what she calls her game face when there's like she had a kid when they were in school who tried to jump off the swings, snapped his arm clean into, like, through the skin. And she's always very like, she's always very kind of reserved, but she said, I just didn't think. I scooped him up and we ran into the teacher's lounge and I swiped everything off the teacher's lounge table and laid him down. And then after he went away with paramedics, then she went and cried for an hour. But she has that, like,
and then you shake.
Spring into action. And she got Gryffindor the first time that she took it.
Well, that personality, they run towards the emergency where other people, and it's weird because you don't even think about it. Your brain's just wired that way. You want to hear what my Patronus is?
Absolutely.
I'm an aardvark.
That is not embarrassing at all.
I've got a weird nose and I eat ants. So then I made my husband take the test because I was like, well, I love him. Maybe he's got something cool, like literally anything else. He's a naked mole rat. He's this weird looking mole thing. And I'm just like, man, we're not cool at all.
Mine is a gray squirrel. And
that's cute. You are a gray squirrel. I agree.
And I got diagnosed with adult ADHD about 6 months later. I'm not saying it was fate.
So what does that mean about me? That I've got a big nose and I don't know.
No. Hardworking, determined.
I love you ready? I wrote down my one too.
Yeah, go for it.
I was chosen by a reasonably flexible 13.25-inch beechwood wand with a dragon heart string core.
Oh,
to be exact.
Okay. Mine was cedar, which is a very like common wood type, especially in Eastern Kentucky. And I'm like, that fits. That completely fits.
Yeah.
Okay. We've mentioned this novel before, and I feel like we're kind of like dancing around it a little bit. This is the Moon Riddle. For anyone interested, this is a Tom Riddle fan fiction that you have written. What drew you to Tom Riddle specifically to write?
I think JK did him dirty. I remember I watched a TikTok of somebody mentioning about how, you know, essentially the whole gist is he's bad because he can't feel love because his mom drugged his dad. And like, I mean, this is adult content, so I'm not going to really say but she essentially R-worded this man. Yeah. And because of that, the child's punished. That gave me a kick. I didn't like that. I just felt like, because there's a lot of people out there who maybe don't feel strong emotions in any direction, and maybe love is one of them, and they don't go out and murder an entire subset of humanity. They're not like, hey, I don't feel love really well, time to murder. Like, and then you have serial killers who have loving families that love them, and they love them, and they go out and they murder like people and throw them in the woods. Like, you know what I mean? I just felt like that was such a cop out. And I'm sorry, if she's listening to this, I'm calling it. It was lazy writing. Everyone else was so complex. Everyone else had so many layers, all of them. And then, but one of the main characters was just like, yeah, he just doesn't love, so he hates everybody. And you're like, no, you can have the absence of love. Like, William, you're great. I don't love you, but I'm not going to murder you. You know what I mean? Like, I just,
thank you.
Like, I don't know. I just felt like there could be so much more to it. And then the fact that he went to school with Harry's grandparents, I was like, that is like, and I know that whole trope has been done 1.5 million times. I think I did it. I followed canon so closely, and I really drew lines that I think people hadn't thought about before that make people go, oh, you know, oh yeah, this makes sense. So that's kind of why I was like, I had this idea, and it was my favorite thing I've ever written, and I can't even sell it.
I know. I saw your little disclaimer. It's now, I think it's reached the 3rd person in our office. Like, it is blitzing its way through my office.
My book?
Yes, your book.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that. Oh, I'm so thrilled.
Yes, I passed it to one girl. She read it in 2 days. And the only reason she did not...
you told me that. I didn't realize there was... that's so cool.
The reason she did not finish it is because she said she woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning with the book on her face. Like, she fell asleep reading it. And then the other girl I actually saw commented under it inside of the Weasley group. She's in my office. And she is the one that's reading.
Yeah, I didn't know her, and I was so confused. I was like, oh, thanks. I thought maybe she found it.
Yeah, she's the other one that's reading it. So it has sparked something, and it's such an interesting premise to this book. So without, I guess, giving away any sort of spoilers, what is the premise of Moon Riddle?
So basically, it takes a deep dive into kind of what I mentioned before, was it gave Tom Riddle more of a why. How did he get to be the man that he became? Because people don't just, you're not born innate evil. You don't, and there has to be, I watch a lot of crime podcasts, and there's the experts say that there has to be a perfect storm for a mass murderer to occur. Like, you have to have mental health issues. There has to be child trauma. And I felt like it wasn't, a why wasn't given to him. So basically, you learn a lot about what happens to him at the orphanage. Nothing is, I would say that the age for this would be, I don't know, what do you think, William? Maybe like 13 and up, but if they're 13, you might need to have a discussion with a parent, or maybe 15 and up.
This is very much like things are implied, fade to the next day. Like,
thank you. Yeah,
nothing is like delivered in, but you get the gist of what's happened. So yeah, I would say 13 and up. Yeah.
Yeah. So like 13 and up, with maybe a parent knowing what you're reading. But it takes a dive into his time at Hogwarts, and he meets Euphemia Moon, who hates her given name. She likes to go by Mia. And she is the grandmother of Harry Potter. And it kind of looks at things from a perspective of not everyone wants to be a Gryffindor. Not everybody is happy in the family that they were born into. And they kind of develop this unlikely friendship to the, dismay of their housemates, their house friends. And it takes you all the way up, really, the story is pretty thick up until they graduate from Hogwarts. Then you have a couple chapters like jumping forward a few years, and then it ends in Tom and Voldemort's death. And I feel like it ties it up nicely because in death, all curses are broken, right?
Yeah. Oh, I got chills again when you were talking about the end of it there.
You have no idea how much like food for my soul it gives a writer when someone's like, I love what you wrote. Oh.
Thank you. Okay, so one of the disclaimers is that it stays explicitly true to canon. What was it?
With one exception.
Okay.
Do you know what it is?
Oh.
It's Avery is a woman, a girl in the book. And in my book, she's a girl, but in canon, she's a boy. And I just felt like, oh, Slytherin's back in the early, like it's all boys. So,
I'm fine with that.
Thank you.
Okay,
that was my one change.
I think there has been several instances in reimagining of stories where they've gender swapped characters, like to great success.
Yeah.
That didn't even stick. That didn't even register as like a, well, I'm sitting here with my clipboard and how dare she make that change? She said it was, yeah. So no. That one was fine. How did you approach capturing his character in a way that felt true to canon? But like you said, you've also added a lot more depth to his story.
I made sure to study his character based on what JK has said in interviews and what she was on paper. Anything that had holes to it, I filled it in to reach my goal, which was to give a why as to how this monster was made. And I wanted it to be I don't want people to be like, oh, I feel bad for him. I want them to be like, he's a monster. But yeah, I kind of can understand why he was mentally ill and like super broken. But to be honest with you, and I know we're going to talk about this a little bit later, this is easier for me to write than original content because there's already the roadmap. The world has been built. I just have to stay in my lane. It was the most fun I've ever had writing a book by far. It was amazing. I had so much fun.
Well, and I often say whenever I'm creating something that I work best and I am the most creative when you give me limitations.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I'm a fiber. We call ourselves fiber artists. I knit. My wife taught me how to knit when we were.
I'm a crocheter.
I was
behind this door is a whole bunch of yarn.
I was crushing on her real hard when we were in college, and she was teaching her roommate how to knit, and I asked her to teach me how to knit. Not because I really wanted to, but because it was more of an excuse to.
You're like, teach me to knit, and she's like, here. It's like the clay, the pottery scene in Ghost.
Yep. It was my Ghost moment. And then I got obsessed with it and went way further and faster than she's like, it takes my mind off of things and I make scarves. I'm like, I need to lay out a perfect picture, accurate representation of.
I made the Hogwarts castle.
I did. And that's the thing. So I actually made a pair of, and I promise this all has a point, but I made a pair of gloves. So when you put the backs of them together, it's the Hogwarts Express going in front of the lake into Hogwarts. But the restriction was it has to basically be pixel art. So you have this many squares, which are the knit stitches.
Yep, I crochet. Yeah, it's the same thing, but in a different direction.
That unlocked it for me. But if you were like, hey, I want you to paint this portrait, then I'm staring at a blank canvas and it's like, what do I do? But you give me constraints, and inside of those constraints, then I do flourish. And that's why I've been so interested in fan fiction, is because it gives you this sandbox to play in that you have a lot of room to play, but you also have rails to stay inside of. And so it's almost like you have to get more creative by leading from this story beat to this story beat to this story beat, but make it be a story that flows that way. But back to Tom Riddle just a little bit. Sorry. What were the aspects and personality of his backstory that you think were misunderstood?
First of all, he was raised in an orphanage in the early 1900s, which, orphanages weren't really known for doing well for children. I mean, even today, not great. There was so much trauma and abuse and neglect in these places. And to me, it was like such low-hanging fruit. Like, what? She could have written a paragraph about, but the only thing that she mentioned with his time there was that he hurt kids who were mean to him. And I thought to myself, this is an orphanage. Of course, kids and other people would be mean to him. And it was made out like he was just like a kid who tortured puppies from a young age. And to me, it seemed like he was a young, scared kid who all of a sudden, like, if you're bullied and you're tortured, and then all of a sudden you realize that you have magic, you don't understand love, you've never had a parent around you, and you're a child, your frontal lobe is still like gray matter mush. You're going to use that to protect yourself and to make those kids pay. And so I didn't look at that as from a place of him being innately evil. It was more of like getting revenge. And that was what I wish that she would have delved more into. There was so much blank area between his time leaving Hogwarts, with the exception of him wanting to go apply for the dark arts job. And if you notice, he kept coming back to Hogwarts, like in the canon, because it was really the closest thing he had to like home and family, even though like he hated a lot of it. It made me sad. Again, monster, committed genocide, like bad guy. But I just felt like he was a broken person. And in real life, we need to understand how those people are made so we can make sure they're not made in the first place. Like, we need to take care of our kids. We need to make sure that abuse is reported and because the ultimate result are very broken people who really broken something.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you took that approach to it, because as a physician, as a muggle healer, I look at that.
I didn't know you were a physician.
I am. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Right on.
And I'm in family medicine, so I have to be kind of a jack of all trades.
You have a responsibility to report. You have to report.
That. I also see a lot of antisocial personality disorder. I see a lot of oppositional defiant disorder.
Yep.
And those are the big glaring things for me. And the outcomes, our treatment options for that are limited. And so outcomes for things like that, like you can do some of the mood balancing medications, but outside of therapy, but outside of like heavily drugging these kids, like there's antisocial personality kind of derives from oppositional defiance disorder, like as a kid. And so, and lots of narcissism, like it's all about him.
Right. And those are that perfect storm I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You have
you mentioned earlier.
Coupled with parents who give you trauma, coupled with, maybe like, I know this is supposed to be happy Harry Potter session, but like Voldemort is a bad, bad man. And he had the perfect storm to create the monster he turned into. And I feel like it was so grazed over and everyone just had to be like, oh, he's just bad. And I felt like we could do better. We could do better.
Yeah. So yes, we could do better. Do you feel like in literature, though, literature a lot of times is escape? I do appreciate really complex backstories. Some characters just need to be evil.
I mean, personally, writing is subjective. So I will have people who disagree with me on this, but I think it's lazy. I just think it's lazy writing to just be like, oh, I need a golden sword to slay this dragon. Oh, there's one on the ground. Okay. Or we need this person to be evil. It wouldn't have taken much to give him more of a reason why. And also, the love potion that made him evil is sold in children's stores. Like something.
Yeah.
What? What?
Yeah.
Like, that's like, hey, we're building a new candy store. Here's the meth section. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're selling a potion that if somebody is under the influence of it, sees a child, they're unable to feel one of the most basic emotions. And I know this is a kid's book. And unless you're really into Potter, you'd be like, wow, girl, you've got problems, but like, I'm just like, this is inappropriate. Like, no. Anyway.
So I kind of go back to, I can understand how Tom Riddle got to where he is, but I think the evil for the sake of evil character is Dolores Umbridge. And that is one where I'm
they
like,
even give her a backstory.
But do they? I think they give her a backstory inside of like Pottermore writings where they go into her history a little bit, but she just that is one that I am content with. No, we all need a character to rally against.
Hate her.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
and I love the actor who plays her. And as an actor, I have played I normally play evil people. So like this last year was the first time I've ever not played an evil person. I was Nancy and Oliver. But the year before, I was Mrs. Wormwood and Matilda. And the little Matildas who play her, like they're the cutest little girls. And the things I say to these children, where I'm like, you're worthless and nothing. I mean, like it is It is awful. And then as soon as the scene would be over, I'm like, I'm sorry. So I've played and I played the evil stepmother the year before in Roger and Hammerstein. And when people come out to say hi to you, the kids wouldn't come to me. I even took my wig off and was like, I'm nice. I'm a mama too. And they're like,
Yeah.
So, but to play that character, man, watching her in the movies, like just seeing her face, I'm like,
I was so excited when they announced that she came back for the Ministry of Magic ride at Universal.
But she didn't go to Azkaban, according to JK. I actually wrote that in my notes to talk with you, is that according to JK, so if you look up JK Rowling interviews, which sometimes she contradicts herself, but by God, how unless you're weird like me, how are you supposed to remember all this? But she mentions that Umbridge just kind of faded into the background and took a minor ministry role. And she had like agoraphobia essentially because she was afraid of magical creatures, especially centaurs. And she never got over that. And so she just kind of went a little cuckoo and kind of just did her little death trap, but she never actually went to Azkaban. So, but of course, don't ask us, people who know all before you write on your script.
I am guilty so many times of actually, anytime somebody points out.
This is why people like you and I become friends. Yeah. I'm not offended by the well, actually. I'm like, oh, good point. And I write it down and then I do it to someone else.
And that's how that spreads. Well, you have written original stories.
Yeah.
What was it? We talk about playing in that sandbox. What was it about having to weave known? And what was really interesting about your book is it's a complete story, but then some of my most wide-eyed moments were when it blended perfectly into a canon event, like an event that played out in the actual story. And some of them played out beat for beat the way that they did in the book. Some of them, like the spin on it was incredible because it's still, from a certain point of view, it's like the crowd of witnesses that witnessed Peter Pettigrew blowing up a street full of muggles.
Yeah.
But somebody standing on an opposite street may have interpreted what had actually happened. And it felt like that kind of dichotomy of viewing the situation. I won't say exact. Well, I would just say it's when Riddle confronted Morphin and then what happened after that. The spin that you put on that, incredible. What was it about playing in an existing sandbox that drew you to it?
I was basically in a sandbox filling a hole. Like holes that I felt weren't well explained, or I watched the movies or read the books and I was like, well, I think there's a whole part about Hagrid's umbrella and his wand. And it was Dumbledore who gave him his umbrella, right? Right? And so I was like, well, how do we know? There's nothing written in canon that said that 100%. It was he said that happened, but it's a POV is your personal point of view. Yeah. And so I think so often there's, one side, two side, and then the actual thing that happened. And so I wanted any action that happened in the story to come from a place that made more sense as opposed to just unbridled rage of a maniac. Like I wanted people to be like, oh yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that would make me angry too. Where you almost could relate, not him being a mass murderer, but like in the early stages where you could be like, wow, yeah, that guy got a pretty crap hand of cards. But the umbrella thing was probably my favorite. I don't even know how I came up with that. I'm not going to give anything else away, but I was like, that's good stuff. I don't know.
I had always, and it kind of makes me question my own headcanon. Because I had just assumed, based off where they were building in the Fantastic Beasts series, that Hagrid was born in 27, and the Beast series was supposed to end in 1945. Well, the Chamber of Secrets was opened in 1942, so the fourth movie quite possibly could have been set around the opening of the Chamber of Secrets in Fantastic Beasts. And Newt, being the Times preeminent expert on magical creatures, would have been at Hogwarts during that time. And that's, I think, when he would have given Hagrid Aragog, because kind of depending on book versus movie, I came to Hagrid in the pocket of a traveler.
Yeah.
Newt, or from a faraway land. That was Newt saw his protege. He saw a young misunderstood kid who had a propensity for giant fantastical beast, who was also wrongfully expelled at Hogwarts and
Right.
saw his mini in, well, it's so funny that you call him his mini whenever he's probably a good 2 feet taller than him, but
Right.
gave him that. And then Dumbledore trusting Hagrid with his life.
Yep.
Like he must have saved his life at some point. And I think the repayment would have been
that in there too.
Well,
Yeah.
the repayment would have been Dumbledore has the Elder Wand at this point.
Yeah.
We know the Elder Wand can repair wands, but the Ministry can't know that Dumbledore repaired Hagrid's wand, so he would have like encased it. And that was my own headcanon, but I'm like, with this spin on Tom Riddle, that makes perfect sense too. So I liked it. And it kind of felt like it kind of felt like I was like sliding in and out of like the multiverse. Like I 100% could have seen the way that it played out that way.
Because we all have filled in the holes with our own assumptions, right? And or what canon we've heard or what canon we remember. But it was just so fun. God, I had so much fun writing that book, and my husband was just laughing at me because I was like, again, you can't sell fan fiction, but it's a passion, right? You say you've got diagnosed late as ADHD. All I do is drink coffee, so I'm pretty sure I'm undiagnosed. But when we get fixated on something, forget it. Like we're so zeroed in on it, and it just becomes you just want to consume and learn more and more and more. And I think the thing that always I do like fan fiction, but stuff that departs too much, it just feels like it's a different story and not actually part of the world. One thing that drove me bananas, this new HBO series, if they don't follow the book, I'm gonna lose my mind. Like simple things, like McGonagall being around during the Fantastic Beasts. That is a firm date. She was not born yet when they had her in those movies. They're like McGonagall, unless it was an aunt. But
I have a theory on that one too.
Oh, really? What's your theory?
My fan theory is the reason why she knows about time turners and she can identify kids who would benefit from a time turner is that she is currently trapped in a paradox where Dumbledore in the future sent her back in time, because we've established in Cursed Child, whether you like it or not, that time turners can go back years, and he needed her help in the fight against Grindelwald, so he sends her back in time. And in the course of that, she ends up saving her pregnant mother.
Okay, I like that.
She cannot know that she saved her pregnant mother, and so she is in this loop where Dumbledore knows she has to go back because she is the one that saved her pregnant mother. If she doesn't go back, she's not born. But she can't know that she saved her pregnant mother. And so there is that time loop where she has gone back in time. She's at Hogwarts. Dumbledore says, I need your help. She thinks it's just helping the resistance, but she inadvertently saves her pregnant mother. And if she doesn't go back in time, that never happens. It
goes on and on and on. That's actually a very neat buttoned up way to explain that. I think you are giving writers too much credit. I think they did not fact check. But your way of explaining it would explain that away. And if they were smart, they would listen to this podcast and then they would go on some official interview and be like, that's exactly what we were thinking.
I have realized in our conversations before today and in our conversation today, I have been doing the exact same thing in my mind for years.
Right? You need to start writing it down.
I have been taking holes and filling them in, or I have been taking gaps in time where things weren't referenced and I was filling them in. I am currently outlining a founders show.
You were telling me about that. So they made listen, are you listening, everyone over at Universal and at HBO? We will sign, we'll give you a kidney and sign any NDA you want us to. Bring in people like you and I who study it and it like we love it. It's a passion. And let us fact check your stuff. Like, let us read it, print it on the paper that, like, if anyone tries to take a picture, it like bursts into flames or something.
Yep.
But just like the fandom is so vast. And I'll tell you why. It's a cash cow. Everything's about money, right? It's a cash cow. Look at Hogwarts Legacy. That is a beautiful example of, number one, the power of the fandom. I was on a Facebook group for people, for Hogwarts Legacy. And the questions on there weren't, what spell does this? It was, how do I turn on my console? Because you had people who had never gamed in their life buying a $500, $600, $700 gaming console. Was that you? Oh God, I was a huge gamer before it too. But I hadn't gamed in 10 years because I had to like raise a child or two. So, they take up all time stuff. So you talk about time turners, with their little kids are time suckers. But I got back. We bought a brand new system, hadn't had one in years, just for this game. And it was a huge, huge W for the company. Took a tiny little gaming company, and now there's so much money, there's so much of a fandom begging for more media, more.
I had to get this is I'm going to say it and then I'll explain it. I had to get cancer to get a video game console. So I had
Go on.
My parents were just against it. They're like, sorry, no. We grew up on a farm. There was a lot to do outside, and if you were bored, go play outside or read a book. Like that was it. I did have, and this is my original one, I had a Game Boy Advanced. That was it.
Okay.
We were allowed to play it on long car rides. If we were going to my grandmother's, we could play it in the car on the way there.
What year were you born?
I was born in 1988.
Okay.
When I got lymphoma at 14.
Oh.
And I had to go through 6 months of chemo at that time. And the women's group at our church took up a collection, and they bought me a PlayStation because I had to stay inside.
Sure.
But you better believe whenever that thing broke down, there was no getting another one. Like that served its purpose for the time.
Right.
And it was a PlayStation 1 Slim, like the little revamped small. The PlayStation came out, and then they released another one that took up less space.
Okay.
Same guts, played the same games, just took up less space.
Sure.
That was the one that I had. I don't even remember when that came out, but it was already like 2 or 3 years old whenever we got it. Oh, it was incredible. Crash Team Racing. Me and my brother burned that up because I couldn't go anywhere without masking and gloving and all of this stuff.
Right.
We got a Nintendo Switch when Jenny was born.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of really late nights where the only thing that she would do is sleep on you. And that was a pop a headphone in, you can take it in there, and whenever she's like good and dead asleep, like you could play it. And that was the only thing that we had. Hogwarts Legacy came out, I bought an Xbox Series X.
Yep. Same.
That is,
my husband came to me and said, babe, the new game doesn't work on our current system. I'm like, buy it now. I'm like, he's like, that's all that needed to happen. Buy it now. And he ran, and in 5 minutes it was purchased online because he was afraid I was going to change my mind. I was like, no. So
do you okay, HBO TV show coming out. Think it's a cash grab, which yeah, sure. If you look at the which this is how deep the rabbit hole goes for me. I watched the press conference when they were debuting Adobe Max, or not Adobe Max, gosh, no, HBO Max, the streaming series where they announced the TV show.
Sure.
And I had picked up on a lot of verbiage leading up to that. That makes me think that the TV show is just a starting point, because they kept saying things like, we have all of, okay, here's some of the quotes. And I've talked about this before, but we don't have to take the time to create new characters. We've had them for years. Max Original will take advantage of all of their strong IP. Max Originals will continue to explore new stories in familiar universes. And they've already kind of done this. I mean, that's pretty black and white. We are going to explore a story. Like, I mean, they're telling you, we're going to go the way of Star Wars and go the way of Avengers. And it's a total different genre feel. Like, Avengers is superhero. Star Wars is sci-fi. It's like, it's high sci-fi. This is fantasy. And I mean, yes, Lord of the Rings had this stuff, but like, it's kind of fallen off in recent years. And well, HBO's already done this. They released Game of Thrones. And then they had House of the Dragon, which is a prequel series. And there's like 2 more prequel series that are coming. And then there's one there's one going to be about Jon Snow, maybe. And there's going to one be of Arya when she's off.
Fan base. Like, it is there. It is sitting there. There are people with just, I happen to have a $20 bill. Where you're just like,
take my money.
Like, take my money. Please take my money. Like, I can't even wait. I have so many ideas for a fun party. And like, there's so many other ways. I feel like the Harry Potter fandom has been starved for stuff for so long that we created fan fiction. We do cosplay events. I met you at Iron Fest, where it was just, people said, we are going to start creating this world ourselves. If you're not going to give it to us, we're going to, and, a lot of us are elder millennials where, we have grown up money now, if you will. Like, when we were kids, we weren't allowed to buy the things or do the things.
Yep.
And now we have and I know we're made fun of a lot for it, but honestly, to me, it's joy, it's happiness. It makes There's a lot worse things. Some people stare at other people throwing a pig skin around and spend Super Bowl tickets are $25,000. And do you, like, babe, do you?
Yeah.
But this is me. Like, I love wearing my Deathly Hallows bracelet. I wear I have all of my little, and it's subtle. It's just a subtle adult, like, fandom. And I feel like if they move forward in the right way with this stuff, it's going to be huge.
I have said this before, and I repeat it because I can't wait for everyone else to get to this point in your life. I felt like the second half of my life began when I stopped caring what other people thought about me.
100%.
I legitimately do not care because everyone will speak into the decisions that you should make in your life, to what you should wear, how you should look, all of this stuff. And I had a big job change that no one agreed with. I was working in my hometown. I loved my patients. Don't get me wrong. The office environment was tenuous at best. They were trying to start walk-ins. I had a 7-month-old. I wasn't seeing her, but maybe 30 minutes each evening awake because she was 7 to 7. It didn't matter if she was in her crib or in your arms. She fell asleep at 7 and she would be asleep when I'd leave in the morning. And I got diagnosed with cancer again. That's an incredibly long story, but they were trying to keep me. Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine now.
Okay, good.
So
good.
I interviewed for a job that my wife and I now split. And so I work the first half of the week and she works the second half of the week. And I'm more of a stay-at-home dad, which is why we're here on a Friday at 11:30.
I was wondering,
I am more of a stay-at-home dad than I am a physician, but I have found balance in my life. I knew in my core this was the best decision for me to make. No one else agreed with it. And when I released that pressure off of me, it was like that Claritin commercial where you peel the film off and everything was blurry and gray, and now it's clear and vibrant. And I've learned to say no. I enjoy saying no.
Were you a people pleaser?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes.
Oh gosh, see, I've never been a people pleaser. I'm that boy in a china shop who's like, no, it's my favorite word.
I was a tiny Vulcan child growing up. Everything was logic and reasoning, and I really loved praise. And so I would join groups to get the tassel to wear it at graduation. I needed that validation. Mm-hmm. And my parents didn't expect it of me. They always said, all I expect of you is
how you were built, how your brain was built.
And that should have been an early sign that I firmly believe that most gifted and talented programs are like, let's identify the kids with ADHD, with high functioning ADHD. That should have been an early sign, but my parents never expected it of me. So I don't want to besmirch them at all. I just assumed that that's what you were supposed to do. And I would hyperfixate on something but again, like you said, people maybe make fun of us because we're the elder millennials and we have the money to spend on it.
I don't care. Because I'll tell you, when I get my little magic, I don't know if you see that Magic Box subscription. They come every quarter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My husband's like, I thought you canceled this. I'm like, I did too. And that's where I have the best of intentions. And then I forget to cancel it. At any rate, the joy of just getting those little trinkets. And my husband, he collects guitars. So we each have our thing, and but I think when all these new series come out, it's going to bring a whole new fandom to it. And I think Universal Orlando, because I live in Tampa, so you go just hop over to Universal. What they're doing is for real how they are just creating sections of their park that in the future, like let's say the dragon section, How to Train the Dragon, they want to expand Harry Potter. Like I think they should get rid of the Dr. Seuss land and just have all of Harry Potter pour into the Dr. Seuss land. I know all the parents are going to be upset with that, but I don't care. I'm a parent.
Especially on the island side. We do appreciate the Dr. Seuss land. My mother's not very vocal about much, but the Star-Bellied Sneetches ride is her favorite. She goes there every time.
Tell her I said I'm sorry, but witches and wizards are going to take it over.
My daughter's going to be, she was going to be 8. She's going to be 9 when the show comes out. And if it is released over the next decade, then as this series is wrapping up, she will be an adult. She will be at the end of the series, the age that the characters are. This is her moment. And I'm already planning like the watch parties. We're going to dress up. We're already starting to read through the books. I'm incredibly excited about it. I know there's a lot of differing opinions, but it's just, like I said, this has been my thing. ever since I was a kid, and I don't see that changing.
Yeah.
I don't even plan on. I don't plan on changing that. But I did want to ask you before we hop off of here, what advice would you give to aspiring fanfic writers as they want to explore, especially inside of the wizarding world, maybe inside of another franchise, if they're wanting to dip their toes into that? Do you have any advice?
I do, and I give this advice to all my writers, and they kick and scream. Get an outline it. Please don't write just from your brain to your fingertips to your computer screen. There are formulas to books. There's beginning, middle, and end. There's plot arcs. There's whether it's a hero's journey, which is what Harry Potter is, or it's a romance. It makes your writing a lot more structured, and it takes the awesome idea that I'm sure you have in between your ears and putting it in an organized way that it can be consumed by someone without it turning them off. So all you have to do is figure out what genre your book is. If it's a romance fan fiction, look up romance outlines. If it's a hero's journey or a thriller or dystopian, just look up those outlines and fill them in. An average full-length book is about 70,000 words. The Moon Riddle, by the way, is only like 50. But a full-length book should have about a 3,500 word outline with a character schematic and a setting breakdown step. It keeps you organized. That way you can start and stop if you get busy, and you'll always know where you are.
I don't know what I expected. Maybe I expected some sort of like, trust your instincts.
No, don't do that.
This was like,
follow the formula.
I'm like, where's the paper? Like, this is
recorded, babe. You can watch this
it's
later.
recorded. I'm definitely going to come back to that. So, as we wind down here, I want to give you the opportunity. Where can people find you? Where can they connect with you?
My social. So Randi Harvey 99 is my Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. Rambo Girl? I think that was my nickname as a kid, Rambo Girl. But there's only 2 Randi Harveys, Randi with an I, in the country. So I'm very easy to find. If you're interested in publishing information, you can go to my website, rhpublishing.biz. If you want a copy of the Moon Riddle, just go to rhpublishing.biz, shoot me a message, and I will send you an EPUB, which is a digital book. You can read it on your phone, or a PDF, which is what I use for paperback. You can either print it or read through it. I'll just email it to you. You can find it on fanfiction.net. You can find it on Archive of Our Own. And my biggest thing, I just want to hear what you think. So leave a review or send me a message. If I miss a canon part, oh my gosh, come get it.
Well, that's incredible. I will link everything down in the show notes of today's episode. Randi Harvey, thank you so much for coming on Potter Plus.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome. Let's do this more. It's just fun talking to other Potters.
Yeah, we've got to have you back. Well, that's it for this one, guys. Randi, thank you so much again for coming on the show. As I've said before, links to her work will be down in the description box below. And I did want to take a moment to plug the Patreon for the Grapefruit Network. You can get this episode extended and ad-free early when you become a patron of the Grapefruit Network. Plus, starting in April, all of the recordings for every show inside of the Grapefruit Network, you will have access to it live. All of our interviews, all of our chats on A Doctor and Lawyer Walk Into a Bar, and our tabletop role-playing game. You can watch us play it live on the big red button. Links to everything, again, will be down in the description. Potter Plus is a production of the Grapefruit Network. To find out more about this show, you can visit us at potterplus.show. And to find out more about the shows inside of our network, visit us at thegrapefruitnetwork.com. And that's a wrap on today's episode. I'll see you guys next time. And remember, you're just as sane as I am.